Okay, so I've spent the last 24 hours at least trying to figure out how to sidechain the Digitone to the Digitakt. There must be a better way of doing this. Elektron, if you're listening, please tell me. Anybody else that's watching, also, please tell me. If not, I'm pretty pleased with what I've figured out, so I thought I'd share it with you all. It's basically using the MIDI channels on the Digitakt to ensure that the Digitone ducks what you want it to duck on the Digitakt. So it's a faux sidechain, really. It's not. They're not communicating in a way that would be traditional sidechain, but it works pretty well, and I really like it actually. I'll go through it now. It seems a little bit perhaps convoluted at first. It really isn't. Once you get your head around it, it's quite a easy way of doing it, which is what I wanted to do. I didn't want something that was really difficult, but it also frees up a lot of creative possibilities. You're essentially using these MIDI channels, and for me, I mean, I use all the audio channels on the Digitakt. I use these 4 tracks on the Digitone. If I'm going to plug something in, I'll use another MIDI channel, but you know, I've got 8 of them, so I can use literally 1, 2, 3, 4. Those 4 MIDI channels communicate with these 4 tracks on the Digitone. So yeah, the way it works is I've done it quite simple, so you can so we're just focusing on the side chain. As I say, it's a kind of faux side chain, but it's quite nice because you can dial in exactly the side chain that you want. So let's say for example purposes, here's like a bass sound here, and I've put that. It's literally a 1 bar loop, 4 to the floor type bar loop. You ready? So bum 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 bum. Yeah. So we want that to duck the kicks on here. So the kicks are literally, there's a kick. Done it with a little snare to make it snappier. So I've put kick again, the same here, 4 to the floor, same with a little snare snap. So it's, and then we want to side chain this bass to this kick. As I say, it might seem a little bit convoluted really, but it's actually quite nice. I like it because it's quite separate. It's like you can mute it. It's brilliant. So essentially we start with MIDI channel on the Digitakt. There's 8 of them. I use 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we've already got that one on track 2. I use 1, 2, 3, 4 for 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 1. Don't worry about this duplicating the sound. All we're going to do is trigless trigs on this. So the sound is only going to be triggered by this. The trigs we're using on this are trigless. So all you have to do is to get your MIDI channel working, the trig, source, filter, amp, LFO. Ignore the secondary options for now. On source, you go straight into your MIDI source. So your MIDI source is your channel. Essentially that's channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, channel 4. So function is the key here. Press your pot down. Channel 1, if you wanted it to be track 2, 3 or 4, you just turn it to 2, 3 or 4 on the Digitone. It works seamlessly, it's beautiful. There's that, there's that. Again, don't worry about the sound coming from this because it's going to be trigless trigs. It's going to be that that's generating the sound, not that. Go to your filter button, so that's your value. This is really important. So hold down function, hit value, and your value is how much of what you're going to put on, what CC message you're sending to this, right? So your CC message is going to be the track level, which is, if you look in the manual, you'll see it's 95. So let's put that on 95. 96, 95. So that's now on 95, which is track level. Any track level is 95. The values on, which is, if you look here, you'll see it goes, basically it's essentially doing that, but you're controlling it from here. And then it's channel 1, which is that. Yeah. So let's go back to kick, snare, space, 4 to the floor. Nice and simple. We want to sidechain that to that kick, that bass to that kick. So we've got it set up so that this MIDI channel is talking to track 1 and to the level. Alright? Trust me, once you get your head around this, I'm really happy about this because it's quite nice to set up. It really is like a separate little sidechain section. It's lovely. So to do a trigless trig, go into record, grid mode, hold down function instead of just holding it down like that. You hold down function, that gives you a trigless trig. So bang your trigless trig where you want them to be, which is there because it's going to send a message to the Digitone whenever it hits that. So now if we, let's say, hold this down, you can hold multiple ones down, it's beautiful. Go onto your value. I'm going to do it so it's really extreme, so it's obvious what I'm doing. So those trigless trigs are going to say to this bass, no volume, right? So, and you can see hopefully it's shot straight down there, so there's no volume there. So then what you want to do is bang on trigless trig next to it, trigless trig next to it, and these trigless trigs we're going to put the volume, the value, on full, which will mean it's no volume, volume, no volume, volume. So essentially what that's doing is giving you that sidechain, that kind of faux sidechain. It's not a real sidechain, it's not listening to that signal and ducking. But if you know how sidechain works, actually doing this, you can dial it in really nicely. The great thing about this is you can decide actually, I don't want this to be on 0, I want it to be on say 70 because it's too extreme. You can then just copy that, paste it, and it makes it a little less in your face, more towards the mixing side of things rather than the pumping side chain. And then the other beautiful thing is if you've got it on either pattern or global mute, I like it on pattern mute. Pattern mute's wicked, which is purple. Pattern mute's purple, global's green. You can listen to it or turn it on and off, which is the nice thing about having it. This is essentially your sidechain tool. So it's on, and then you can just literally mute it, and then unmute it and do the same thing whilst, I don't know why I press that down, you don't need to, whilst you're playing. So hopefully that's helped. It drove me nuts for a good 24 hours figuring out how to do this, but as I say, seems perhaps a bit over the top at first. I come from a Cubase background and that was a nightmare to sidechain, to be honest with you. So this is quite nice, but genuinely, if you look at it, that as your sidechain for each one of these, then it's a nice little pocket of sidechain. You can just mute it on. Once you've set it up, you can copy them over, dead easy. You can copy the whole lot over for all of the tracks. Yeah, it's for me it makes loads of sense and works nicely. But if Elektron could come up with a different way of doing it, I think it'd be brilliant. But I'm quite happy with this way of doing it. So yeah, I hope it helps. And yeah, let me know what you think. Happy to answer any questions. If anything doesn't make sense, or as I say, you've got a better way of doing it, please let me know. I use Sidechain massively, mainly as a mixing tool, but it's nice to use it as a bit of a pumping effect every so often because you know that it's working in a sense. But yeah, wicked, nice one. Cheers.